Hey, everybody. I'm back. I'm back. Well, I was supposed to have did a live yesterday, but unfortunately, I had a funeral to go to, and funerals are very, very hard, especially if it's filled with emotion. Um, it was really hard yesterday. I've never felt that intensity the way I felt yesterday. So I had to take a whiff of my asthma pump real quick. So we spoke on something for the people. That's what I'm naming it. It's the Fight CPS Handbook. And so I was supposed to have my guest here, but I misplaced the email. So I'm hoping that my guest is here to join me because I needed something from my guest. So, whoever just joined the chat, can you please um, say who you are so I can know exactly who's viewing? And I thank you very much for being a part of the live. So, I'm going to get into it. Last week, okay, hold on. Let me make my screen bigger. Okay, something for the people. I'm trying to make it bigger for me. So I spoke on hold on one second. Let me get it together. I did the table of contents. We spoke about never ever trust anyone from CPS or DCF2. We spoke on we didn't speak on it, but I'm just giving you the introductions of the different table of contents. Are all CPS workers in the United States subject to the Fourth and the 14th Amendment? The Fourth Amendment impact on child abuse investigations. I think I need to make this screen bigger for me, you guys, because for some reason I'm getting some. Hold on a second. Let me see who checked in. No one checked in. Okay. Let me see here. Okay, and I spoke of, well, I'm reading the table of contents again, excuse me. Section 4 is going to talk about when is consent not consent. Number 5 is not there for some reason. I don't know what happened to Section 5, but Section 6, do children have legal standing to sue CPS for the illegal abduction from their home and violating their 4th and 14th Amendment rights? Okay, so let me continue. And whoever it is watching, thank you and welcome again. Section 7, the summary of family rights, family association. Section 8 is warrantless entry. Section 9, due process. Section 10, seizure, child removals. Section 11, immunity. And Section 12, decision of the United States Supreme Court uphold parental rights as fundamental. So we did read over, I believe it was the preface in Section 1. And whoever you are that's watching, can you please, I said the word earlier, I can't think anymore. My brain cells are gone. Let me know who you are so that I can give you an appropriate welcome. Okay, so hopefully Air Force 5 will come in. Okay, and I did read over the preface, and I don't know if I have to do it again. And you know what? As a matter of fact, I think I will just skim over it a little bit. And it said this is only a guide to your constitutional protection in the context of an investigation of alleged child abuse and neglect by Child Protective Services, CPS. Every state has variances of CPS in one form or another. Some are called DCF, some are called DCYS, some are called DCFS, some are called HRS, and some are called CYS and FIA, collectively known as CPS. For the purposes of this handbook, the material in this handbook should be supplemented by your own careful study of the 4th and the 14th Amendment, along with the 6th, because it's in here somewhere, the 6th Amendment as well, and other constitutional protections that are guaranteed even in the context of dealing with CPS. Now, I've actually seen a little bit of the 4th and the 14th and the 6th constitutional rights, and it was basically telling you that they do not have a right to. Oh man, I wish he was here. I asked him to do a study on that, and I didn't write that down, but I can definitely look that up really quick. The 4th Amendment. Sorry if I seem like I'm not prepared. I really wasn't. I had to kind of rush and get things together. So it states, let me see if I could find it here. Excuse me for not being okay. The 4th Amendment says the right of the people to be secure in their persons, house, papers, and effects against unreasonable search and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath of affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So if you don't have a probable cause is not somebody's word of mouth. A probable cause has to be something that they actually saw. Hi, Fire Mama. Kids get me. That's okay, sweetie. So probable cause is something that you have to actually see it. Like I did a demonstration, and I was letting people hear the difference between what a lady claimed, a neighbor claimed that she heard her neighbor hitting a child with a broom. So what I did was I took a broom and I dropped the broom on the floor, and it made a really loud sound. 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendment should be used for CPS. Okay, they said 4th, 14th, and 6th on this one. So maybe later on, hopefully, it'll, if you have any information on that for me, Fire Mama, I would definitely welcome you to join me so that we could talk more about the 4th, 5th, and the 6th Amendment. That way I could give you a chance to discuss it for those that need to understand it. I don't have a problem with that. If you want to get on, I would like for you to discuss that if you want to. If not, just let me know so that I won't be trying to pressure you into doing something that you may not be comfortable doing. But yeah, so I dropped the broom and it made a really loud sound. Then I took the broom and I hit my arm. Well, not my arm. I hit myself with it, to see if possibly you can hear it. And you couldn't hear it. So how is it that she could say that she heard the lady hit the baby with a broom when in fact the dogs were playing and they were roughhousing the dog? One of the dogs knocked over the broom. The broom fell. It startled the baby. The baby started crying. Mom comes in, grabs the baby, consoles the baby, put the dogs out. By this time, the neighbor called CPS 5 days later. CPS comes knocking at her door. So like I say in every last one of my videos, I really feel in my heart that when you have someone that is calling CPS, I feel like CPS should, from now on, it should be a law. It should be a requirement that the person or persons that's claiming that there is child abuse or child neglect needs to provide a name, an address, and a phone number. And that worker needs to go out and get sworn testimony and to see if this person is going to tell the truth. Because like I've been saying, if you take that anonymous away from a lot of people, then they won't be so quick to call CPS on someone. And as I stated, and as I was reading, it said in this manual a lot of things that I said, prior, that some people get mad. For instance, Fire Mama and I'm friends, and I get mad at Fire Mama because she's like, I have kids, and in this household, we clean up after ourselves, and this is how our household is run. And also, I noticed together that you haven't been consistent with paying bills. I've been so boggled down. Normally you would deposit the money in my account through Cash App, and I looked at Cash App and I have not seen all of my money. You owe me for rent and you owe me for part of the utilities. And so you've been getting away with this for a couple of months. So I need you to give me my back money. So I'm like, well, I don't have it. And I continue to try to play this game with you. So you say, okay, I got this. So what you do is the smart thing. You go down to the courthouse and you obtain a 30-day notice to pay or quit. So because I think that I could get away with it and we're friends, that it's no big deal, the 30 days is up, I gotta go. You did it legally. So there's nothing that I could do about it. So I leave. Next thing you know, because I know the dynamics of your house, Fire Mama. Hey, you. What's going on? I was looking for you. I need you to I sent you an email, Air Force. I sent you an email and I don't know if you got it, but I needed you to break down. Fire Mama just gave me some good information. I need you to break down the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, and the 14th Amendment. And when you're ready, I'll bring you on. Okay, if that's okay with you, because I definitely said that I wanted you to be a part. So, like I was saying, Fire Mama, so because I lived in your house, I know the dynamics of your house. I know everything that you do because I know I've been there. Let's say I've been there for like a couple of years, and I know everything that you do because I was there. And so I get ticked off because you legally did the right thing by going down to the courthouse and having me evicted for not paying my portion of the rent. So time goes by. Because I'm such an evil witch, I call CPS. I know the days that you go shopping. I know the days that you wash. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call CPS because I know they're gonna come out possibly 5 days later, and I'm gonna time it just right, Fire Mama. And I'm gonna call CPS and say, yeah, I had to leave because she never had food for the kids. I got tired of, being responsible for her kids. I got tired of washing her clothes. I got tired of cleaning her house. I got tired of taking my money and buying food and putting food in the house, which is all lies. So CPS comes out on that day that I know that you're going to be low on food, and I know that this is your day to wash your clothes. So you have like a pile of clothes, and this is your day to clean. You normally clean, you do like a spring clean, and you pull everything out, you dust wipe down everything. So this is me being an evil witch. So then CPS comes in and they're looking at your house, and I made a false claim for one because I'm angry at you because you made me leave. So now I got you wrapped up in all this crap anonymously. You don't even know who the caller is. Now I got you wrapped up in all this crap because I didn't hold up my end of the bargain. So now I got you in a bunch of mess because I'm mad. So that's why I say, if they was to say, okay, why don't you give me your name and why don't you give me your phone number and your address together so we can sit down. Would you say, okay, be right back, I have to look them up. Okay, so we can sit down and you can tell me, what's going on. So I'm going to be like, you know what? Never mind, because now I got to give up who I truly am. I got to tell you who I am. I have to sit down with you face to face, and you got a face to a name, and you got an address to a name, and you got a phone number to a name. So now I'm required to sign this sworn affidavit on the charges that I brought against you. If I'm a coward like that and a no good person, and they require that, don't you think a lot of these false calls to CPS will stop? I believe it would. I believe so. I think people will think about it unless they're, and I'm not talking about the legitimate cases. I'm talking about the parents that are not doing anything wrong. I'm not talking about the ones that have, addiction problems, I'm not talking about the ones that are abusive, that's neglectful. I'm not talking about those people. So this book is not for them. This book is for the innocent, the ones that have done absolutely nothing, the ones that have been, unjustly called on, CPS unjustly called on them for no reason because somebody has an attitude. Like I said last week, it could be a girlfriend. Like I read a story on the internet where the boyfriend was horrible to his child, and the girlfriend was with him, and she saw how horrible this man treated, his child. So she went to CPS and she won custody of her boyfriend's child. And as I was reading, I feel like rightfully so, because he was abusive and he was neglectful to this child. So in cases like that, this is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that are totally innocent, that have done absolutely nothing. The person may not like you for whatever reason that's beyond you and call CPS on you. So I had read about, and it says the intent, I've read that. Okay, the intent of this book is to inform parents, caregivers, and their attorneys that they can stand up against CPS and juvenile judges when they infringe upon the rights of both parents and children. As you read this handbook, you will be amazed what your rights are and how CPS conspires with the assistance of the Attorney General, which is the AAG, who then in turn has the judge issue warrants, orders that are unlawful and unconstitutional under the law. And a lot of people didn't know that this is under the law. I mean, this is unlawful. And so a lot of people get caught up. But one of the things that I wanted to tell you, and I hope that people are taking notes, is that you absolutely, if CPS walked up to your door, whoever is going to listen to this later, or in the future, CPS comes to your door and knock on your door, you absolutely do not have to open your door, not even if they have the sheriff with them, or not even if they have the police with them. They have to have a written warrant before you let them in your house. Do not open the door and let them in your house unless they have a written warrant for, to come into your home, especially if you have done absolutely nothing. Hey, Fire Mama, it's only two of you guys. Can you do me a favor and see if you can share this and see if we can get more people to come in? For some reason, like I told Nick, that because I don't have 1,000 subscribers, it doesn't put out on StreamYard that I'm going live or that I'm live. Can you do me that favor and probably post something to, let people know that I'm live? If you don't mind, I'd appreciate it very much. Yeah, so you don't have to let anybody in your house. You don't have to let them in. And when they get the police involved, it's only to protect them, because some people will go off. They will be ready to fight, but you don't have to let them in your house. You don't. And that's the law. They are breaking the law when they're telling you that you have to open the door. The police can be sued, and so can the worker, because they are breaking the law. And a lot of people don't know that they don't have to open that door. A lot really don't know. And I'm trying to find a way to educate those that don't know. Even if you are going through it right now, according to other pieces of documentation that I've read, anytime you have any type of correspondence with CPS or any type of worker, any type of anybody that's dealing with CPS, you need to be recording the information. And I know that they say it's I read it in my other video where you are allowed to record that video. I mean that phone conversation, because you are an active party that's involved in that phone conversation. Now, if you were not an active party and you were recording somebody else's conversation that had nothing to do with you, then you can be held accountable. But as long as you are a part of that conversation, you absolutely can record that conversation. But I advise you to look it up in your state wherever you are to make sure. But I know that a lot of states, if you are a part of that conversation, you can absolutely record it for your own self in case, a worker tries to, tangle up your words and say things that you did not say. You can possibly use that as evidence and say, this was the actual conversation that we had. And I don't know why this person is not being, truthful. So, let me continue. And it says that, hold on a minute. See, that's what I hate when I start talking. As I already read that part, the AAG, juvenile judges. And okay, and they were talking about the 4th and the 14th Amendment, just like police officers, according to Circuit and District Court of the United States and the Supreme Court. CPS workers can be sued for a violation of your 4th and 14th Amendment. They lose their immunity by those deprivation. I think I'm saying it right. Deprivation of rights under the color of law, and must be sued in their official, and individual capacity in order to succeed. I don't know what those double S's are. I'm just going to say in a 1983 and 1985 civil rights lawsuit. So you can absolutely, according to this documentation, sue CPS and the officer that comes out, because there's no way they should be lying to anyone, telling them that they absolutely have to open doors and they absolutely have to come in. That's a lie. Okay, and about the authors of this book are not attorneys and do not pretend to be attorneys. This is the first thing I need you to understand. They are not attorneys. The authors were victims of a false report and were falsely accused by DCF in Connecticut without a proper investigation being conducted. The authors fought back for 8 months against the corrupt organization whose order of the day was to deny them of their 4th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights and to fabricate false charges without evidence. So you can get them in trouble. And especially if a judge finds out that I have it up. Okay, you ready to come in? So let me know so I can go ahead and send you the link. Okay, hold on. Let me copy this link and send it to you. Okay, hold on. You should be getting the link right now. Okay, there you go. Okay, yeah. So the CPS worker and the cop can be sued, and as we read further, you can find out also that your child also can sue. So hey, it is what it is. And like I was saying before, if it's a good judge, because I look at a lot of cases, if a judge finds out that a CPS worker lied and it's a good judge, oh, they will definitely get in trouble. Because in California, there are so many CPS workers that are behind bars right now for falsifying information, having kids taken out of the home for lying, being caught having how do I say it? Because you're not supposed to say certain words. Having passionate having passionate relationships with maybe the father or the mother to cause one another to win sides. Hold on a second. You said which email did you send it? Send what? Oh no, I didn't send it. I needed you to pull it up. Yeah, so I'm just gonna wait for you to come on, click that link for me so you can come on and help me break this down. Click on the StreamYard link in chat area for. Oh, he knows. I think he knows how to do it. Let me know if it's working. You should remember, buddy. Yeah, so I'm sorry about the pause. I'm just trying to make sure that he gets connected so that because he had some questions last week before the dog started going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and those questions were amazing. Welcome, welcome. Week before the dog started going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and those questions were amazing. Welcome, welcome. Before the dog started going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and those questions. You want to come up too far, Mama? You can block yourself. I'm not talking to you, babe.
What'd you say?
I think your mic is muted.
Yeah, I'm trying to turn the YouTube channel down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fire Mama, would you like to come up too? You can block yourself. Okay, we're waiting for Air Force right now. Ooh, it's hot. It's hot out here in Cali. Okay, let me see. While we're waiting for him. Okay, good. There you go. Cool.
Trying to put my avatar up there, but it won't show. Okay. Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So what are we talking about here?
Well, I was asking you to break down those amendments so that people can understand those amendments. I kind of read over it a little bit, so I kind of want you to break it down just a little bit and give, because you were saying some things last week before, the dog started going cuckoo. So I wanted you to finish what you were saying.
Okay, you know what? I forgot what I was saying.
You were saying, you was talking about the video I made with the difference between the flesh of being hit by the broom and the broom hitting the floor. When the lady called CPS on the woman because the dogs knocked over the broom.
Okay, I got you now. I got you. But I forgot the statement.
There's a buzzing in the background.
It is?
Yeah.
No, my heat is not. Oh, wait a minute. My phone will be next to the computer. Sometimes that happens. Has it stopped?
Mm-mm.
I don't have my heat on.
It sounds like some hair clippers or something.
Hair clippers? No, I'm not clipping nothing.
Okay, we can just go ahead. It's not that bad. I hope it doesn't bother anybody else.
Okay, let me turn the speaker down. We were talking about the lady who had made the call.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know whether or not you stated that CPS had gotten any information from her.
We have Fire Mama here too. Welcome, Fire Mama.
Hello.
Hello, I'm trying to figure out how to mute it so it's not got a bunch of feedback.
Okay.
When he's talking, I didn't want to interrupt.
Okay. Welcome. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, so as far as the Fourth Amendment is concerned, the police officer, the FBI, the DEA, they need sometimes there's a no show warrant, especially if you get ready to run into a drug house or whatever. They're just gonna get together, do their thing, and then just bust your doors open and because they have probable cause, because they know what's in that house, they know what you do, and through intelligence, or intel is what they call it, they figure out where your house is, how to the closest way to get to your house. The closest, I mean, they do a synopsis of your house from the outside.
Okay.
You know, if they have a undercover police officer who has been, excuse me, who has been buying narcotics from that house and has been in that house, that undercover police officer may know every aspect of that house and know who is in that house. Now, if you have kids in the house, they're going to let SWAT know that you have kids, you know, where they sleep, so forth and so on. Sometimes they may even know where your guns are stored, you know,
Right.
just by observing, you know. So once they come in there and, you know, they knock that door down and tell everybody get out, you better go ahead and get out. Don't even start
Right.
reaching for no gun or nothing, because, you know, then it becomes a problem, you know,
Right.
both for the suspect and for the law enforcement. Now, as far as the warrants are concerned, the warrants must be signed by the agent, by the police officer, really. Okay. Or if CPS goes in front of a judge and says, Judge, I need a warrant because of such and such and such and such, the judge is going to ask him or her, well, what is your probable cause for trying to obtain this warrant?
Right.
You know, and if you just got how can I say, hearsay,
Okay.
you just can't go on hearsay. You have to have, that agent has to have, just like a police officer, they have to have probable cause in order to get that warrant. They have to have more than a mere suspicion that a crime has been committed,
Right.
and on whom that crime has been committed upon. Okay, so that police officer or that CPS officer has to stand in front of their judge. Hello, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm? And they supposed to yes, 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 and give the subscription of the description of the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized, which will be the children, you know.
Right.
So they have to do all of that. If a police officer comes to your home without a search warrant, if CPS comes to your home and says, I have, or somebody gave me word that you're beating your children. Well, who gave you word? Because
Right.
I don't associate with my neighbors.
Right.
Well, so who gave you word? My husband, he lives in Connecticut. Did he call you and give you an anonymous name and say that I was abusing my children? Or my boyfriend and I just broke up.
Right.
You know, did he call you? Or maybe a female, did she call you?
Right.
Or was it my mama? She's got Alzheimer's, so you can't always believe what she said. You know.
Well, have you ever noticed, like, sometimes even, let's say somebody does answer the door and they don't have the warrant yet, right? Whether it's a CPS worker or it's the police officer, what they like to try to do is say, well, you're going to make it harder on us. So we got an anonymous phone call saying there's this going on and I can smell odor from the house. I can see your kid right there, not dressed. So if I get a warrant, I'm going to write all this down. It's going to be 10 times worse. It makes a person feel like, oh, well, I might as well let him in, and it's the wrong thing to do.
It is the wrong thing to do. You do not let anyone in your house.
Exactly.
Anything that's said can be held against you too. They write that down too.
Right.
That's
right.
fine.
Exactly.
That's fine. That's fine. You know, because when I was, matter of fact, when I was, this may be just a little small example. When I was writing out speeding tickets or red light tickets or whatever, and we had, you know, the person wanted to go to court. you know, but the person was saying this, you MF this, you don't know what you're doing, you didn't clock nothing and all of this guy. I write it down in my little notes. Exactly what this person said. So when we go to court, when we stand up and my name is called and the violator's name has been called, we go in front of the judge and the judge will ask me questions. And then I would, well, did the suspect did the violator have anything else to say? You know, so I said, yes, sir, or yes, ma'am. This is what the violator stated, you know, and the judge will look at the violator, you know, and say, okay, well, your ticket is such and such and your court cost is such and such. But you're going to have to apologize to what you said to that officer because that officer did what he was supposed to do.
Right.
Sometimes sometimes we would have judges like that to make that violator apologize for what they said.
Right.
You know, but no. They can write down any and everything they want to write down and say, well, you're going to make it harder, this and harder, that. Okay, so what? I'm going to make it harder for you to get I'm not going to make it harder for you to get your warrant. You just want to make it harder for me when I stand up in court. And you're going to say, you're going to say your little words and stuff. But if that person, that CPS, if the CPS knocked on that person's door, and if that person is at least educated,
right,
and I'm going to say this, some education of what CPS was all about, I would go get me a portable recorder, put next to the door. And when that person started talking all that gibberish, I said, can you hold on for a minute, please? I got it. This coat fell off the back of the door. I got to pick this coat up and cut that recorder on. Hey, bam. There you go.
Right. But yeah, a lot of people don't know that you absolutely do not have to open the door, and they do use fear tactics to try to get people to open the door. Like one lady in another story that she was at home with her kids, and she had lost her job a month prior, and she woke up one morning 2 hours before her husband got off of work, and her pillow was soaking wet, and when she looked, she noticed that her ear was bleeding. So when the police came and the CPS worker came, because she had called 911, to find out what the heck is going on with my ear, the police said she was a cutter. So she showed the police her body, that there was no cut marks anywhere on her body. And so then he went off to say that she was chronically unemployed. Her husband left her when he worked the night shift. There was no food in the house. So they took her kids and placed it with his aunt, the husband's aunt, which was an even worse environment. So she got some money from her dad. I'm just paraphrasing. She got some money from her dad that passed away. And so she made a call and said, you know what? I want you to take notes. I want you to hear me very clearly. So they listened. She said, I'm getting ready to get me the toughest son of a bitch lawyer to take you guys down. And can you believe the very next day they end up dropping the case against her? But at the same time, what about the trauma of you putting those kids through trauma, living in a house where it was dirty, people constantly coming in and out, having to sleep in the attic. They were not accustomed to that lifestyle. And here the mother, he said she was a teen mom. Okay, how are you going to say, you didn't even ask her, can I see your ID? You were there because she had an ear that was bleeding, and you went from her bleeding ear and saying that she was a cutter, from going to a cutter saying that she punctured her own eardrum. Why would someone go that far and said that she did it for attention because her husband left her? And then they took the kids stating that there was only crackers. She said, I don't see how it's relevant that you would take my kids, because they wasn't eating at that time of the night. They were asleep. And when my husband came home 2 hours later, there would be over $200 worth of food in the cupboard. So what's the problem? You took my kids because you wanted them to eat when they should be asleep. What's the problem? And it doesn't make any sense that, like I was saying earlier, that a lot of times these women have a lot of problems because it could be, that boyfriend. Like one story, the little girl was screaming. I wanted to play the video, but I did not want to get a strike. And the little girl was screaming. I mean, if you heard her scream, it would just break your heart. And she was saying that to CPS and the judge. She was telling the police, everybody, I don't want to go back to my mom's house because her mother's boyfriend, which was a police officer, was fondling her and scratching her VV, as she says, and doing things. And the mom would sit there and watch. So this little girl was telling them, but you wouldn't take that little girl out of that home, which I couldn't understand. You would take a child that's doing good and leave a child that's in a really dangerous situation in that home and overlook it. What is your take on that, Fire Mama?
That's not that's not a good case at all. I mean, what does somebody do with that? Saying things like that.
Right. And the little girl was crying. Like, they did examine her and everything, and they did find scratch marks on her little VV, as she says. And she was begging and pleading, and they were pulling her, and she was being drugged. Like, they were just dragging her. And the mom is like, oh, it's going to be okay, honey. And the father and the police told him to back up because he was about to jump on her. But I don't understand that you will come take innocent people's children. And when you got people that's literally like taking like the food stamp SNAP assistance, they're taking the child support, and they're taking all these different things, and they're going out there gone for days smoking rock cocaine or methamphetamines, or kids have been overdosed on fentanyl. There's abuse, but you take and send them back to the abuser.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
And weirdly enough, a couple months ago, I got a phone call from somebody I was really good friends with in elementary. And she was kind of startled, and she goes, yeah, so I know you haven't heard from me in years, but I was wondering if you could write me a paper saying I'm a good mom. I said, honey, I haven't seen you in years. How do I know if you're a good mom? And what is this for? What do you mean? She goes, well, you know, I have vitamin D issue, and I got 5 kids, and I'm married, and I'm not working, and he's not working. He wasn't home, and I was laying in bed, and I have 5 kids, and my daughter got out, and the cop knocked on the door bringing my daughter, and he saw a pizza box and garbage, and came back the next day and got the kids. And I go, okay, so, you know, I don't understand. And then she said, well, then CPS came and said there was vomit on the floor. The teeth were, their teeth were, you know, dirty, haven't seen a dentist, malnourished, and all this stuff. And I said, well, I'm not writing a letter. I haven't been around you in years. And that's in a court of law.
Right. Right.
You know, and I'm thinking, you say you're going to church. I mean, somebody that knows you would have to write a letter. To reach out to somebody that doesn't know you in so many years is strange to me.
Right. That's very
And
strange.
I didn't know what was going on in the case, you know, and I'm not going to lie, you know, I don't know what's going on. She's like, well, I thought you could help me. And I thought, well, I don't know what's going on. Your kid's running around. I don't know. And it's like, I feel bad, but I won't, you know, jeopardize myself or my own kids to write a false letter.
Right, that's perjury. Yeah, and she was trying to get you in the mix, and I'm glad that you didn't do that, because that would have been all bad. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people will call an old friend and do something like that. And I had someone that asked me, "Can you help me adopt a kid?" And I was like, what do you mean? I need you to write a letter and say, I said, yeah, you're good. You know, when I said, I'll do it, you know, depending. And so I was in the car, and I'm in the back. Let me tell you, her husband was very bold, you guys. So I'm in the car, and I don't know what she said or what happened, because my head was down. And the next thing you know, I look up, we're on the freeway, and he takes and slams her head into the window on the passenger side, and he's hitting her. And I'm like, I'm not going to like try to stop him, because he has control of the wheel, but with the other hand. So I'm like, stop the car, stop the car, stop the car. And so I looked at both of them. I said, can you take me home? Because, you know, you guys just like ruined my day, you know? And so I found out it wasn't the first time. So they're good with my kids, but I told the social worker, We were on the street, on the freeway, and he was beating the hell out of her. Why would I subject a child to him just flip? If he didn't care about beating her up in front of me, what do you think he's going to care about beating her up in front of that child?
Yeah.
I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know, and after that, they stopped talking to me. I don't give a who. I'm not. What if you get mad and turn on the child?
Yeah.
I signed that. I spoke up for that. No, thank you. And she can't have kids. You wonder why you keep kicking her butt. If you stop beating on her, maybe she could conceive.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of sad situations and stuff, but even if somebody doesn't answer the door, eventually they're going to catch you on your way out or something. And even then, you still don't really want to speak, drop urine, and usually they don't even drop urine. Now they want hair samples to go back through the 6 months. So that's another thing that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah, I was talking about that the last time me and Air Force was talking. There was a lady, she and her baby's dad were using drugs. And so the girl had a drug test coming up and they wanted a hair analysis and they want fingernails. So she went off and she dyed her hair. So they said, oh, so you're going to dye your hair, you know, so they could alter the test. And I was like, oh, for real? They're asking for that now? I didn't know that they were asking for that. So she dyed her. They said, do you normally dye your hair? And she was like, yeah, I always dye my hair. But, you know, the way that one of the social workers looked like, no, she doesn't normally dye her hair. So then they went to ask her if she would walk across town to drug test. And if I tell you, she made up every excuse as to why she couldn't walk across town to drug test, but she was asking the court for her baby's father to give her a large lump sum of money per month. So, you know, he's working the program, but he's living inside of his car, excuse me. And so the judge said, okay, you know, you're working a full-time job. You've been testing negative. You've been doing really good. So we're going to lower your payments to $150 a month so that you can get into an apartment and get stabilized so that you can be able to, you know. And so what happened was I said that he broke up with her, but what happened was she left him 2 years ago. And after she left him, she would not allow him to see his kid. So now the court is like, do you want to see your child? So they're trying to do reunification with him, but her, I doubt that she's going to get it together. So these are the cases where I think that CPS is doing a good job with, you know, making sure that these children don't go back into this type of environment.
A lot of people got to want it too. They got to, you know, if there is drugs involved or any of that, they got to want to go into a treatment facility. And a lot of those people will say, yeah, they've been clean. They've been doing the steps. They're doing counseling. They're seeing the doctor. They're doing group therapy. They got clean urine screens and casework or case management, you know, all that will go in and back you up. And then they'll help you with, you know, caseworkers to help, you know, placement and house and food stamps and insurance and all that. But a person's got to want it, you know, and that's the thing, if they want it. But they'll help with your court cases, probation, CPS, all that.
Yeah, but what about the ones that are absolutely innocent, like we're saying right now, the
like
ones that are innocent? Yeah, and they're caught up in the system.
Yeah, well, the thing, if they're innocent, right, they shouldn't really speak, right? And they should, like Air Force was saying, get it recorded, you know your rights, limit exactly what you're saying if you do go to answer the door, you know, make them go get the warrant, you know, because you don't have to open the door then. They'll give you 24 hours if you need to clean your house, get groceries, whatever. If it's not there, they'll give you the 24 hours, you know, and then say, look, I'd like to know who this person was. Well, we can't tell you. Okay, that's fine. Well, I'd like to document your name and your information, and you know, they'll see everything checks out in your house. You know, but if there's a caseworker that is doing something shady, we got phones, we can record what they're doing, what they're saying, and how your house appears to back that up if it does go to that, and have those steps ready. And you do got to be smart about it.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. So Air Force, it sounds like you have some background in law enforcement.
30 years.
Okay, so
Congratulations on that.
yeah, congratulations. Have you ever been called out on such a call as like for CPS or anything, or what was your title?
No, well, I started as a police officer and retired as a police officer supervisor. 30, 35
Okay.
years, 35 years. So I retired in April of 2008,
Okay.
you know. But my
Congratulations.
thank you. I was mostly a foot and road guy. You know, I was mostly on the road all the time until I became a supervisor.
Okay.
Then they put me behind a cotton picking desk. I don't be behind no desk. You know, I'm right there with the guy.
That's funny.
That's where I want to be. You know, but no, I have
That's
never
funny.
been called upon a CPS case. You know,
Okay.
and has anybody? There may have been some guys or girls on day shift that may have, but I was mainly either evening or midnight shift. You know, but again, still never had any calls for CPS. No, never had to deal with them.
Okay, so let me get to section 2 real quick, and I love this conversation. I love how Fire Mama, man, wow, you're very, very, very insightful. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
But section 2, because we read section 1 last week, and it says the social worker at your door, and they were given helpful hints, and it says more and more frequently, homeschoolers are turned in on child abuse hotlines to social service agencies. Families who do not like homeschoolers can make an anonymous call to the child abuse hotline and fabricate abuse stories about homeschoolers. The social worker then has an obligation to investigate. Each state has a different policy for social workers, but generally they want to come into the family's home and speak with the children. And I don't think, like, separately, and I don't think that's right. To allow either of these to occur involves great risk to the family. The homeschool parents, however, should be very cautious when an individual identifies himself as a social worker. In fact, there are several tips that a family should follow. So, that's what you were talking about. Now I remember you were talking about Air Force. You were saying that it's a bad idea. I remember now that a social worker should be able to go and talk to your child alone. And we were talking about how the baby was talking about Mary, Dick, and Jane. Remember that?
Okay, yeah. Now, here, since you brought that up, since I remember a little bit, that social worker, to me, taking that toddler in a closed door room. Okay, what are you doing back there with my child? Are you molesting my child? Open that door so I can see
Right.
what's going on. Because if I don't, if something's going on back there, I'm going to charge you for it. There you go.
Right.
You know,
Right.
leave that door open. Plus, okay, here we go. If a 15-year-old, 14-year-old was caught by the police for stealing, they would take him down to the precinct, ask him some questions, but then the police have to call that youngster's parent or parents. You know, that parent has the right to be there in that interrogation. Right. You're asking my child something. She's only 15 years old, but you asking him questions? Oh, no. Son, daughter, stop talking. Let me go get Joe Blow. Call him on the phone so he can come down here.
Right.
Or if they don't have an attorney that they can get in contact, then I believe the parent can still say. Matter of fact, the parent can be in the room when the questioning is being done, the interrogation is being done. The family member can be in the room. They can request to be in that room.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
The
yes,
key word though, you said request, so they're gonna try to question that child unless that parent says something.
yes, yes. Now, as far as a little toddler, no, you're gonna keep that door open while you talk to my little baby. You're gonna keep
Right,
it
because I mean they're still gonna say whatever while you're standing there. So that's a
right.
little too much. I
Yeah.
agree with that.
You know, no, you're not going to do no. Man or woman, you're not going to close behind closed doors with my little. No, sir. No, man.
Stranger danger.
Right.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Right.
You know, because I see, and if a police officer was not there with that social worker, I would call 911. Stranger danger. I have somebody in my house that's with my little one in the bedroom with the door closed, and I don't know what's going on back there.
Yeah.
Right.
When that police officer come,
but that's where it gets into you. That's where you said to record it. Me personally, and I appreciate that information. I would grab my phone and I would be like recording while I'm talking. Why do you have my 3-year-old child in a room with you by yourself as a male or female with the door closed?
Yes.
This is inappropriate. I did not give you consent to talk to my child, and that right there, that could bring up a whole nother thing.
Oh yeah, consent.
Yeah, they come. Some of these workers go too far.
You know, but and going back to the short version of the Fourth Amendment is just this: the right of the people to be secure in their persons, their houses, any papers, any effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall be violated, and no warrants shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by the oath or affirmation by LE, and they must describe the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. That's the short version of the Fourth Amendment.
Right. And sometimes, you know, like she said, you know, people are doing false reporting and they'll use that as probable cause and put people in a situation.
Still get me in my warrant.
Yeah, that's not hearsay. Like he said, is not probable cause, and it has to be something that you absolutely witnessed. You know what I'm saying? You saw this mother, like I saw my friend slamming his wife's head into the window. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna testify that I saw it, and it's gonna be the absolute truth. That's probable cause. And the reason why I'm being honest is because she got a big old knot. How she get that big old knot, and how does it collaborate with her story?
Mm-hmm.
And then why does she have other bruises on her bodies that's healing now? So that means that what I said was truthful. That's why I say I really feel like they should take away that anonymous call. Let me get, for now on, now when you call in for anything like child abuse or anything of that nature, my name is such and such. I live at this place and my phone number is this. Now, as a social worker and the police, why don't you come with a sworn affidavit and make them swear to the affidavit? And when you find out that they committed perjury, any charges, like if the parent has to go to anger management or counseling, drug testing, or anything, having a child taken out of the home, whatever that parent had to do to prove their innocence, I think that person that made that call should be financially responsible to pay the government back on everything that took place, plus whatever that parent sues them, that suit cannot be erased, especially if they make a good amount of money. You have to pay restitution, you know, for making false reports, because it could be anything. Like I told people last week, it could be a boyfriend that cheated on his girlfriend and decided to go with the side female, and now the female is mad and then calls child services. It could be anything. You know, my sister lives in Arkansas. She's a domestic violence advocate, and she hid the name of the caller, but the girl called in and they were already in court. And the boyfriend, the ex was the baby's dad. Let me say it like that. The baby's dad, it was his turn, to take the child. And so she found out that baby's daddy new girlfriend was going to be there. So she called the abuse hotline and told my sister that he was currently abusing the child when the child was in the care of the father. They were out enjoying themselves. So had my sister not had that situation set up in place, they could have been looking for this guy. This guy is out, enjoying himself with his son and his girlfriend, and she would have gotten away with a false report. So that's why I say, if you give that name and that information, a lot of people will stop making false claims.
Okay, but you gotta you have to look on the other side of that too. Because let's say the person gives their name, phone number, address, and all of that kind of stuff to the CPS. Okay, now sometimes that can cause a problem because now that this neighbor or something has been involved and have given their name, they can't be anonymous anymore.
Yes, they can.
How?
Yes, they can. Absolutely, you can. You have a choice. If you sign this, would you want us to, like, if they ask you, I forget what it is, do you want to continue to be anonymous, or do you want to come forward? Now, if you get the choice of being, like, when I say anonymous, meaning, okay, I know who you are, but because you chose to be anonymous, we will still include on that paper anonymous, but in our office, the judge and the lawyer will know who you are, but that parent will not have that legal right to know who you are. And because they were bold enough to give their name, but they don't want any problems, because I got to continue to live next door to this person, based on the situation. Then you make that determination. So you don't just go out and say, oh yeah, Susie said this, that, and the other. No, you don't do it like that. You make sure that caller, even though you have a name and an address and a phone number stuff, you still, protect them, highly protect them. You know what I'm saying? So it should be something where they're highly protected, because you don't know if that person is going to go next door and rock somebody's snot box. I'm trying to be careful with my words, or lights. Yeah, rock their snot box. Yeah, you want to make sure that they you want to make sure that they don't do that. So that's how you gotta, you choose what you put in there. Now, if you got a social worker that's careless, then I would be like, you can tell by sitting down with that person, like, nah, I don't want to give you my information. So it should be a choice, especially when it could be a dangerous situation, especially if we know that this person could be potentially violent. Then we might want to protect the person's identity in that case. If they can lock up and seal your files in court and you're not able to get it, they can do that for you. So that could be another option. If you bold and say, I don't care, I'm not scared of them. Hey, my name is Together. Yeah, I saw it. So, what do you think about that, Fire Mama?
I mean, I see both points, I mean, I don't know, if there's a family member and they see what's going on, it's breaking their heart, and they finally make that call because they're seeing something that's actually not right going on in the household. And they're saying to CPS, can I please be anonymous? But I'm so worried about it. Usually when it comes to that, don't they say, they'll call a family member to take over the kids anyways until they get their stuff together?
Depending.
Yeah, I don't know. Every situation is different.
Yeah, it depends on the family. If that person has, you know, sometimes people can wear people out. What if that person was the type of person that constantly left the kids alone and the family always had to come and rescue? Then that would be kind of like, oh my God, here we go with this again, you know. And they probably say, you know what, I have a life to live and I'm not willing to go through all this, people coming in and out of my house, you know, disrupting my life, you know, because she don't want to get it together. Let them go to somebody else that can deal with it. And you got those families like that. But I'm talking about the people that are absolutely innocent. If these people are innocent and somebody is falsely accusing them, then I think that they should not allow them to be, you know, I say
there should be a trace back. I agree. There should be a trace back because that's defamation of character. You know, that's a lot of stuff going on. You know, if somebody's innocent, you know, what if they got to miss work because they got somebody knocking at their door and they got all this stuff? I mean, there's a lot going on with that. Right. And with the false report, that's definitely not okay to do that.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the people that are actually guilty. We're not talking about them. We're talking about those that are absolutely innocent. Like, I just straight up lied on you because I'm mad at you because you put me out because I didn't want to pay my portion of the rent and I wasn't cleaning up and I was treating your kids any kind of way. So you made the right decision and you went down to the courts and got that 30-day notice, put my butt out. Now I'm going to lie on you because you put me out. I can't keep doing what I've been doing. So I'm talking about those cases. I think that there's, like you said, the word trace back. There should be a trace back.
Yeah. Yeah, they got to know where it's coming from. And a lot of people don't want to pay for eviction. You know, I've had it where a couple of friends will say, oh, man, I let them stay at my house and they said they were going to be here 3 days. It turned out 3 months. They started getting their mail sent here, and then they have a bag of clothes here. Now, technically, they live here, and I got to pay to do an eviction. So they'll try to do a restraining order or whatever just to get out of that, too.
Look, let me tell you what I did. You guys, I'm ridiculous. I'm just going to be real. I'm ridiculous. I had a friend said, can I stay with you for 1 month? I went to this corner store where they had all kinds of stuff like rental agreements. I wrote a 1 month agreement. They went down to the court with me and said 1 month, stamped the paper. When that 1 month came up, they were like, no, I don't have to leave. I said 1 month, you stamped the paper with me because you was in need. I said, now you got to go. So when I called the sheriff's like, your 1 month is up.
I don't play. That was very smart. A lot of people say, oh, yeah, it's my friend. You can stay here. And then they stab you in the back and you can't get them out.
No, because I have family and friends burnt. Yeah,
all that money. You got to pay all that money for an eviction.
Mm-hmm. Not me. It was easy for me because you had 30 days. That was your promissory. You said 30 days and you had 30 days. Guess what? I ain't going to miss you. And I ain't gonna call you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, get all them paperwork together.
Yeah, so you should like me personally, I don't care if somebody says that they're gonna come visit for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you know that they have nowhere else to go. My suggestion to anybody that may listen to this in the future, you go get you a rental agreement and you write it no more than 30 days, even if they need an extra 2 weeks, and you go down to the court, you put it in, you make them go with you, because if they're desperate enough, they will go with you, and when that 30 days come up, they gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, check this out. And what I almost forgot to tell you, after they did the paperwork with me, I gave them a 30-day notice right behind their back. Like, here you go. They're like, what's this? I said, here's your 30-day notice. So I had the contract and the 30-day notice. So the police was like, you gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't playing because you wasn't gonna live off of me for 6-7 months, and I wasn't about to spend no money to run you out.
You must have been looking at Judge Judy.
Huh?
You must have been looking at Judge Judy.
No, I had a couple of people that did me dirty before, and I said it won't happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you you cannot send your. I don't care if you said you cannot send any mail, because if you send any mail to my house, I would fill out another card to say that I'm the only one that reside here. You're not coming up in my house.
Return to sender.
Yep, if you got somebody sending you money, they better Cash App it. They better Western Union. Don't you send nothing here because it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's get back to this. So you see some of the points that they put up here. Oh, what about the Sixth Amendment? I mean, the Fifth Amendment. Fire Mama was saying something about the Fifth Amendment.
Okay.
Remain silent. Don't say nothing.
Oh, okay. So you're not
Yeah.
absolutely saying
Where,
nothing.
where anything you say, that can be held against you. You know, if you don't have a lawyer or legal aid or whatever, they'll use that.
Mhm.
They'll use that in their warrant. They'll use that on CPS file. Anything that is said.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were agitated. They said this. It looked and smelt like this from the crack of the door. It looked like this from the outside. No kids present. I mean, they will write it all down. So
Mhm.
it's best to come outside the house if you want to do that, maybe. But yeah, to let somebody in is not a good idea. And not to say much at all, if anything.
Right.
Okay. Okay. What about the Sixth Amendment?
The Sixth Amendment. The right to a speedy and public trial.
Okay.
An impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and the cause of the accusation, and to be confronted with the witnesses against him.
So that goes back to what we were saying. Right. That's what I was saying. I want a name, an address, and a phone number, and a sworn affidavit. Because, like I said, if you get those things in place, they said 80%. This is a high percentage, Fire Mama. 80% of all calls made to CPS, they said, are false calls, false allegations, and the rest 20% are real calls.
And that's sad.
That's a high number of false calls being called in.
Mm-hmm.
That's a high number, and all these innocent people. But I was explaining in the beginning, there is a thing called it's AFSCAR, AFSCAR, and it was set into place by the government. And what AFSCAR is, it's a data processing center for CPS, Department of Human Services, and anything that has to do with children. And they are supposed to give a yearly report on whether they reunified the children, if they adopted the children out, if the children aged out. And so they're not doing that, but they're still getting funds. And somewhere somebody dropped the ball. And so when I was reading over that report, you guys are going to be blown away. They don't know where. Are you ready for this number?
Go ahead.
They have no clue where over 500,000 of the kids that have been placed under CPS are.
Oh my goodness.
They don't know where 500,000 of those kids are.
Which means they haven't been keeping records.
That's exactly what I'm explaining to you. They don't know where 500,000 of them are. And the most kids that are taken out of their houses are African American or / Black children. They're the ones that are taken out of the house more than any other rate. And they thought that it would be Caucasian. They thought that it would be the Latinos and the Asians, but it's the black children that are snatched out of their homes at a higher rate than any other rate. And then they had a case where a family had adopted 2 kids, and I'm not talking about the California City Boys.
Mm-hmm.
That family had adopted 2 kids in another state, and the family was still getting checks, and the father ended up taking the life of the kid, and he didn't do anything except for bury the child in the backyard, and he was still getting checks. But somehow, some way, they needed to do a welfare check, and that's when they found out that the father had buried the child in the backyard and didn't tell anybody that the kid had, passed on. So there are so many things. I have a relative that was placed into foster care, and the stories that she told me, it just made me cry. I cried and I cried, and I realized how blessed I was. But she told me of the constant abuse, intercourse, hopefully I could say that word, that was happening between her and the son of the family that adopted her. And then she went into another home. The same thing. They continued to, violate her, shall I say. And so it was just hard to hear that these people adopt these kids and they allow their families to, or their husbands or their boyfriends or whoever, to do the most heinous things to these children, and nobody is being accountable. Nobody's being convicted for it. And I know you heard of that story about that little boy out here in California, Gabriel Fernandez. You heard about him?
I don't think so.
No.
Well, if you have Netflix, look up Gabriel Fernandez. It was the most gory case of child abuse to me in history. It was so bad that they put a Netflix movie up. The parents tortured that little boy until he passed on, and he was so. And the social workers, they saw all the signs of the parents that was abusing this child. They saw bruises, broken bones, malnutrition. He had dark circles under his eyes, and he still could manage to scrape up a smile, and they end up, taking his life. So all the social workers that was involved in that case out here in California are in prison.
Good.
And I don't see them getting out no time soon.
That's good.
The lawyers everybody that was involved basically are in prison for, I believe, for the rest of their life. So if you look on Netflix, you can even look it up on YouTube, Gabriel Fernandez story. It's a horrific story, and that little boy, it was no sense in them treating that little boy the way that they did. And that is the worst case of dropping the ball. So now they're starting to hold a lot of these social workers responsible. California has the highest rate of social workers that are incarcerated to this date.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
They have the highest rate. So I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit of section 2. And it says, number 1, always get the business card of the social worker. This way, when you call your attorney or your homeschool legal defense association, if you are a member, the attorney will be able to contact the social worker on your behalf if the situation is hostile. HSLDA members should, that means homeschool, should immediately call our office and hand the phone out the door so an HSLDA lawyer can talk to the social worker. We have a 24-hour emergency number. So a lot of homeschool mothers and fathers, they don't know, grandmothers, aunties, uncles, they don't know. So it's always best to get that if you're doing homeschooling. So number 2 is find out the allegations. Do not fall for the frequently used tactic of the social worker who would tell the unsuspecting victim that they can only give you the allegations after they have come into your home and spoken to your child separately. You generally have the right to know the allegations without allowing them in your home, just like you said, Air Force, just like you said. And just like you said too, Fire Mama. Number 3, never let the social worker in your house without a warrant or court order. Did you not just say that? Yes, you did. All the cases that you have heard about where children are snatched from homes usually involve families waiving their 4th Amendment right to be free from such search and seizure by agreeing to allow the social worker to come inside the home. If anybody want to stop me, you can. A warrant require. Okay, go ahead.
I'm just teasing. Go ahead.
Okay, a warrant requires, like you just said, probable cause, which does not include an anonymous tip or a mere suspicion.
There you go.
This is guaranteed under the 4th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution as interpreted by the courts. In extremely rare situations, police may enter a home without a warrant if there are exigent circumstances, i.e., police are aware of immediate dangers or harm to the child. Like you said, if they've been scoping out the house and they see like drug activity or something to that effect, and they already know, or it could have been an undercover that have befriended a quote unquote drug dealer and have been up in the house like a friend, you know how they go undercover. So, however, in some instances, social workers or police threaten to use force to come into a home. If you encounter a situation which escalates to this level, record the conversation if at all possible, but be sure to inform the police officer or social worker that you are doing this. If entry is going to be made under duress, you should say and do the following: I am closing my front door, but it is unlocked. I will not physically prevent you from entering, and I will not physically resist you in any way, but you do not have my permission to enter. If you open my door and enter, you do so without my consent, and I will seek legal action for an illegal entry. Whoa, you did say that. You said that. Okay, number 4 is never let the social worker talk to your children alone without a court order. What did you just say, Air Force? What did you just say? What did you just say? You said, ain't no way. I'll be like, hey, you can't close the door. What you doing in there? And you was on point. You ain't playing. Okay, or nearly every other incident concerning our members, HSLDA has been able to keep the social worker away from the children. On a few occasions, social workers have been allowed to talk with children, particularly where their severe allegations are involved. In these instances, an attorney chosen by the parent has been present at other times. HSLDA had children stand by the door and greet the social worker, but not be subject to any questioning. So with the homeschooling, I guess it's the lawyer or the organization. They will definitely let the child greet the social workers what they're saying, but that social worker is not allowed to question the child in any way at all whatsoever. And then tell your child after they greet you, you don't have to say anything. Don't volunteer no information. If they try to have you say something, don't say anything. You know, just turn your head and look at the legal counselor that's behind you, or stand behind the legal counselor, letting them know as a symbol, like, look, this person is for me. I'm not allowed to speak to you. Tell the official that you will call back after you speak with your attorney. Call your attorney or HSLDA if you are a member. Ignore intimidations. Normally, social workers are trained to bluff. They will routinely threaten to acquire a court order, knowing full well that there is no evidence on which to secure an order. And 98% of the contacts that the HSLDA handles, the threats turn out to be bluffs. However, it is always important to secure an attorney in these matters, since there are occasions where social workers are able to obtain a court order with flimsy evidence. HSLDA members should call our office in such situations. So that was number 6. So break that one down for those that say, I don't get it.
Who you talking to? Me?
I'm talking to you or Fire Mama, whoever wants to break it down. Number 6. What does that say to you? It says ignore intimidations. Normally,
don't call.
Bully you.
Huh?
Don't let them bully you.
Right.
Period.
Go ahead, Fire Mama. What'd you say?
Well, don't fall into the fear tactics. They're gonna try to intimidate and try anything and everything to get inside that house and try to get as much information or keep a person talking, don't speak to them. Don't let them in the house. I mean, it's basically saying get the legal aid, get the representation, get their business card, and don't fall for that.
Okay, I have a question for both of you now, since we're going there. What happens when, let's say it's not the homeschooling, let's say that this person doesn't have a lawyer, don't have HSLDA, then what should they do next? Should they go to legal aid, obtain a lawyer? What should they do next?
Either or, they're going to have to bluff and take 24 hours to figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get a lawyer anywhere. So even if, they're doing scare tactics, well, do it back.
Yeah.
Stand up for yourself.
Okay. All right. So that was for people. The reason why I'm asking you, because there are people that's going to see this and say, well, what if I don't have a lawyer? What if I cannot afford a lawyer? What do I do next?
And there's always legal aid, and there's always people that'll do pro bono. There's always somebody that'll do something. Okay. And they have public defenders. They have legal aid, especially for low income, that will represent.
Okay, so that's good information for the person that will hear this so that they can know what their steps are. Okay, and then they have point A, a statement from your doctor. Okay, it says, I'm sorry, number 7, it says offer to give the officials the following supporting evidence. A statement from your doctor after he has examined your child if the allegations involve some type of physical abuse. B, references from individuals who can vouch for your being a good parent. Okay. C, evidence of the legality of your homeschool program. If your homeschool is an issue, HSLDA attorneys routinely assist members' families by convincing social workers of this aspect of an investigation. Okay. Now we're getting into number 8. You said this, Air Force 5. Bring a tape recorder and or a witness to any subsequent meeting. Oftentimes, HSLDA will arrange a meeting between the social worker and our member family after preparing the parents on what to discuss and what not to discuss. The discussion at the meeting should be limited to the specific allegations, and you should avoid telling them about past events beyond what they know. Usually, anonymous tips are all they have to go on, which is not sufficient to take someone to court. What you give them can and will be used against you. Did you not just say this, Fire Mama?
Yep.
They do. This is something.
So if somebody's rambling and they're thinking, shit, they just gave me even more information, they're going to use that. That's why limit, what a person is saying. They've got to limit what they're saying, have legal representation or get it, and just, record. And you can record that when they're answering the door too and go outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you got to
say, I'm recording you. I don't know what this anonymous tip is or whatever. What's your name? I'd like a business card. I got legal representation, and I'll see you back with your warrant. And that's it.
Right.
And don't, say, oh, yeah, that's going on or whatever.
I'm sorry. Hi, Tracy. I'm sorry. How you doing today? I'm sorry I didn't see you. I was on another screen. Would you like to come up? I can send you the link is there if you want to join. I hope I can add another person.
Hello, Tracy.
Hello,
if you
Tracy.
Want to come into the chat, just hit that link and we can invite you. Maybe you can give some insight, because we're talking about a handbook, to help people fight CPS when they've been falsely accused. We're not talking about the ones that are guilty, and that's why I had to make it clear. We're talking about those that are innocent and that have been falsely accused. The ones that are guilty, that's a whole nother story. So if you want to come up, let me know. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and read a little bit more because I have to flip to another screen, so I don't always see all the hello, and I'm doing laundry. Oh, okay. So let me go ahead. Let me see. We stopped at number what, y'all?
It was 8. Was it 8?
Number 8. Okay, number 8. Yeah, we're coming to number. Yeah, you said record them. So yeah. Because whatever you say can be used against you, not to give up too much information. Okay, and number 9 is inform your church and put the investigation on your prayer chain over and over again. HSLDA has seen God deliver homeschoolers from this scary scenario. And that's a good one to go. Some people don't believe in God. Whatever your choice of worship is, whoever your God is, take it to him in prayer. I only believe in one God. So, number 10 is avoid potential situations that could lead to a child welfare investigation. So, and they got points here. So we're going to go with point A, conduct public relations with your immediate neighbors and acquaintances regarding the legality and success of your homeschooling. B is do not spank children in public. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I was kind of iffy on that because it said do not spank in public. So is that saying go ahead behind closed doors? I mean, that's kind of iffy there. And that's the whole reason why they're being called anyways.
Right.
I mean, I don't spank, so that's just me. I mean, you can take tablets away and, sit them in the corner and make them, do homework and, do all that stuff without spanking. And I don't think it's really effective either. But that's just me.
Not.
You don't? You don't?
No, I do not. I do not find it effective, and I will not do it.
Right.
I just think there's other ways.
I don't know if the cop, I think this cop has passed away now, but this cop told me, if you spank your child, don't leave any marks on them. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? So when my kids were little and they would do stuff, I would take things from them, and what would hurt them so bad is I would take their game from them, and then they would have to tell me. I would be like, why? I want a really good reason why I took this game. So my oldest would act like, well, I don't really know. And I wanted to laugh because he was like one of those kids that was just a comedian. I said, you don't know? I said, well, I guess when you figure it out, you can have it back. Why in 2 minutes? He said, oh, I remember now. So
for my teenager, I think I'd rather have her scrub the toilets and clean the bathroom, and that's more torment. No cell phone and scrub the toilets, and she's like, I ain't doing that again.
Oh man, I saw something.
Clean the garbage disposal.
I saw something. Look, I saw something one time that was so embarrassing. It was so vulgar, and everybody was in the store. I was just sitting there watching, and the little boy, he was being obnoxious in the store. And so he was like, Mom, can I have this? She said, no, I don't have enough money for that. He was like, I want it. She said, but I don't have enough money for it. Well, put your stuff back and get me what I want. She said, I can't, then we won't have any food to eat. And he said, I don't care. And so he threw it in the basket and she took it out, and everybody's looking, and I'm looking, and I'm like, what is she about to do? Because I'm looking, bracing myself. And she said, would you stop it? She said, I told you I'm not going to give it to you. And he said really loud, well, then I'm going to tell Grandma that you put your mouth on Daddy's.
Oh, low blow.
Let me tell you, I dropped my basket and I laughed so hard. I laughed so hard, but the other people around me was looking at me laughing, and they were like, "Beat him, beat him." I'm like, "No." I said, "No." I said, "This is her fault." This is her fault. I said, "This is her fault because she should have been careful what she was doing." And I thought that that was so sad because he didn't get his way. He just went there in front of everybody. And it was so embarrassing that, it's funny now, but at the time I laughed. But then I thought about, oh my God, she must be really embarrassed. And, what's going on in that house for your child to know that you're doing these things? What are you
Right.
and your husband doing? And to me, I thought that that was, after the laughter, I thought it was like really inappropriate. And I looked at him and he looked at me and I just looked at him. I said, that's not nice. I said, what you going to do if your mommy doesn't wake up anymore? He was like, I will cry. I said, so you got to treat her good right now. I said, because you only get one mommy. Everybody else can be pretend, but it's nothing like that one mommy right there. And then he was like, I'm sorry, mommy. And I looked at her and she was like, okay. I'm like, oh my God, this is a mess. A stranger has to show you how to parent your own child. What is wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? I'm a young mom. What am I doing parenting your child?
Well,
Does that,
I've had plenty of I have plenty of apple tree branches.
what is that?
That switches.
Oh, yeah.
I've had plenty of leather belts. I've had myself and my two brothers. It was three
Right.
knuckleheads that she had, and she was the same, because my father had left, and she was a single mother, But when she got home from with my grandparents, my grandmother said, "Well, he did this and he did that, and that one over there did this."
Mm.
Oh, we knew what was coming.
Ooh, honey,
We
I
knew
know
what
them
was coming.
switches.
Man, but I mean, yes, indeed. My mother did not hold back at all.
Right.
So as we grew older, I think the last time my mother beat us was when my youngest brother and I were in the bed and we did something. I don't know what we did. But she came upstairs with that belt and she beat us and we looked at each other and started laughing because that was the end of that that was the end of the belt age. Yeah, I and from that point, all of us. Now, some people say, they have their own way of thinking of, what I guess you would say corporal punishment back in those days would do to a child,
Right.
But all of us, all three of us, graduated from high school, graduated from college. My youngest brother went into the music business. My oldest brother, he became he went into the army. Yeah, he went into the army, came out of the army and became some type of counselor over in DC.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, and then I just said, well, I don't know what I want to do. I said, I just want to be a police officer, just point blank.
Right.
And so that was my goal, to be a police officer. So I did that. And so, I mean, we all remember what my mother did to us, as far as the beatings and everything. But I don't think my brothers took that on with their children. I don't know. But as far as my child is concerned, and she's a girl, well, she's an old woman now. Anyway, the first time I spanked her butt, she was 5 years old. And I told her, I said, this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. And I beat her butt. I did. And I told her to go in the bathroom and get some tissue. And I said, because I don't want to see any tears. and she got that tissue up near close to her eyes, you know. But the one who actually disciplined my daughter was her mother.
Right.
Her mother, you know, because I only had her like on holidays and weekends.
Okay.
You know? But her mother was the one that disciplined her.
Okay.
Because she had like 4 other girls, and oh yeah, and sometimes, you know, her mother would call me and say, you know, your daughter did this, your daughter did that. I say, okay, we'll put her on the phone, or I'll come get her, you know. And I would talk to her, and with her getting angry, with her getting upset with me when I tell her, you know what you did was totally wrong, and you know it was wrong. But
right.
You know something, I'm disappointed in what you have done and or what you have said. I'm very disappointed in you. I don't want to even look at your face. You know, that hurt her more than her mother getting her beatings.
Right, right.
And she called me one day and she cried on the phone to me. I asked, what's wrong with you? She said, Daddy, I am so angry with you. I said, what did I do? Why do you, first of all, she said that. Then the second thing was she asked me, do you love me? What do you mean, do I love you? Yes, I love you. You're my daughter. You're my only one. You're my daughter. Yes, I love you. Why? How come you have never spanked me for the things that I've done wrong? I said, listen, I told you the first time you were 5 years old. You may not remember, but I beat your butt. I told you before I beat your butt, it was going to hurt me more than it hurt you. And it did, because I went in the bathroom and I cried for it because I spanked my daughter. I told her mother, I can't do that. Not no more.
Right.
You're going to have to be the one to, and I mean, you've been doing it, so that's your daughter too. So you do what you need to do.
Oh, so throw it off on mama.
Hey, that's what I did. She was doing it. She was doing it beforehand anyway.
Oh,
you know, but my daughter's going to call me, ask me why, ask me if I loved her because I didn't give her any beatings.
Right.
I said, wow. I said that was way out. That was way out. But I mean, when she graduated from high school, the first thing she did was, Daddy, can you take me down to the Air Force recruiting office?
Wow.
To the Air Force recruiting office. I took her to her initiation, which was 5:30 in the morning. She swore in all of that kind of stuff. Stayed there till the plane took off.
Right.
Yes, indeed. My baby she's in Germany now with her family.
Oh, that's a blessing. So, Fire Mama, you don't believe in spankings?
No, I don't do it. That's just me, but I'm also a single mom. You know, it's just different. I have 2 daughters, a 15-year-old and a 4-year-old. Now, my mom, when she was brought up, she went to a Catholic school, and she said those nuns, woo, they were.
Oh yeah, yeah.
She said,
I heard stories about them.
She said, I think that nun had my name on that damn paddle just ready for me when she went to school. And then her mom said, you know what, that's a good idea. And she, had paddles with, her and her sister's name on it. And it was almost like a fear thing. Like they, she'd go and grab the paddle and it'd be like, nah, I think I'm gonna be good now. You know what I mean? So it was a whole paddle routine. But like for me, I think my mom, she tried to do the best she could with all of us and stuff. And she usually tried to yell or like fear us or have us do chores and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so I think maybe I learned from that there's a different way. Because, I just sit there and think, what if I get too angry? That's not the best time, to do that anyways, and it's like, walk away or here, or are they doing it for attention? They're doing it, and I'm trying to look at it in their eyes too,
Right.
So I don't know. I feel like I'm always the middle person. Like I want to see both sides and what am I doing wrong or something, or, How can I change this? How can I fix this?
I don't think you're doing anything wrong necessarily. I think that it's a good idea to, because that's the way I was when I did discipline my children. I would walk away from them and I would get really, really calm because I've seen people, like my sister had a friend and her mom was so abusive that we hid the girl in our house, and her mom was walking up and down the street with a belt, and the girl had, her mother was beating her so much that she ran to our house. And so when we saw that, I'm like, oh my God. And it kind of scared me because it was like up close and personal. And a lot of things that have happened, I've actually seen it up close and personal. So it gave me a different heart in how to, discipline. I didn't just knock you upside the head, but when I was little, you know, my grandma would say, "Go pick your own switch." I came in with the smallest switch I could find. You said pick your switch. You didn't say how big or how little. So I went and got the smallest switch I could find. And she was, to me, she was very. My grandmother was abusive. I'll just keep it real. My grandmother was abusive, and because she was, that is what caused me not to be, because I knew what it was like. And I was like, I didn't know abuse until I got with her. And I was like, oh my God, this woman was pulling out extension cords and, those little racetracks. I'm like, what the hell? Over little stuff, because she was frustrated. And so thank God I had a godmother that would come and I would go live with her. She was like, I'm taking you out of this house because it seemed like, she would target me. And I'm like, I thought that she had, every weapon that she chose to use with my name on it. So that's what caused me not to, use that against my kids, because I know what it felt like all too well. So, that's what I was saying, for people that are actually guilty of abusing their child, because they have lack of control, or they were once upon a time abused and all that stuff. Those people, they definitely need the assistance of CPS and all those other places. But like we were saying, what we're going to continue here is those that are absolutely innocent and have done absolutely nothing. And so let me continue. It says, I guess this is still part of 10, and it said there have been some homeschooler families who have been faced with a warrant, even though there was not probable cause. HSLDA has been able to overturn these in court so that the order to enter the home was never carried out. Homeschool Legal Defense Association is committed to defending every member family who is being investigated by social workers, provided the allegations involve homeschooling. In instances when the allegations have nothing to do with homeschooling, HSLDA will routinely counsel most member families on how to meet with social workers, and will talk to the social worker and try to resolve the situation. If it cannot be resolved, which it normally can be in most instances by HSLDA's involvement, the family is responsible for hiring their own attorney. HSLDA is beginning to work with states to reform the child welfare laws to guarantee more freedom for parents and better protection for their parental rights. HSLDA will be sending out alerts to its members in various states where such legislation is drafted and submitted as a bill. Okay, for further information on how to deal with social workers, HSLDA recommends Homeschooling, the Right Choice, which was written with the intention of informing homeschool parents of their rights in order to prevent them from becoming a statistic. Federal statistics have shown that up to 60% of children removed from homes upon later review should never have been removed. The child welfare system is not, the child welfare system is out of control, and we need to be prepared to obtain the right choice or join the Homeschool Legal Defense Association. It gives you a number here, which is a 540 338-5600, or write HSLDA, P.O. Box 3000, Percyville, Virginia. I believe that is 20134. So let me make sure that's the yeah. Okay. I don't know what the feedback is. It's a lot of feedback. Somebody has a lot of feedback. You hear it, Fire Mama?
Yeah,
Fire
I
Mama, you
muted.
there?
Yeah, I muted mine for a minute, thinking it was mine because of the ambulance and cops going around. But I don't know, still doing it.
Yeah, I think it's something in the background of section 2 was long, so I'm gonna continue to read this one. Okay, I just wanted to see how much more we had to go. Yeah, I think I told him I told Air Force to sound like
You can probably add that link into the YouTube, right? I don't know how to do any of that stuff, but there's probably a way to do it, right?
I think it might
link you're on.
When you get on to hold on, I'm trying to see something. Okay, yeah, this is what I wanted to go back to. I don't know, but I definitely want him to talk, but I think it has something to do with the background. I don't know if it's the connection or what, but you still there, Air Force? I can't see because I'm on a different screen.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. So it says the Fourth Amendment impact on child abuse investigation. This person named Michael P. Ferris, President Patrick Henry College, General Counsel, Homeschool Legal Defense Association, HSLDA, the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit said it said it best. Excuse me. My screen is my words are very, very small, so I'm kind of struggling. I don't know why I blew it up for you guys, but my words for some reason are very, very small. So forgive me for tripping over words. The government's interest in the welfare of children embraces not only protecting children from physical abuse, but also protecting children's interest in the privacy and dignity of their homes and in the lawfully, oh God, I'm so sick of my screen, exercise authority of their parents. I don't know all this other stuff. This statement came in a case which held that social worker who, in pursuit of a child abuse investigation, invaded a family's home without a warrant, violated the Fourth Amendment right of both children and parents. Upon remand for the damage phase of the trial, the social worker, the police officer, and the government that employed them settled this civil rights case for $150,000. So you mean to tell me the police officer, the government, so the government gets sued as well, along with the social worker, correct, Fire Mama?
I guess if that's what it's saying. I mean, but a person's got to know that or have a lawyer to do that back, I guess.
I don't really think they need a lawyer for that, especially if you find out on your own that they violated your rights. If you, like Air Force said, if you have some knowledge of the law already and they violate, Air Force, can you come in? So you say if you have some knowledge of the law and they try to come after you, you said that you can also sue them, or like Fire Mama said, you could go pro bono.
Yeah, I mean, if some lawyers,
there's something definitely going on with your phone.
No, actually.
Hello. Okay.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay, that sounds a lot better, but I can still hear the background noise, but that sounds a lot clearer.
That must be my friend. My friends, actually, because I'm in my bedroom. I have a home studio, home recording studio in my bedroom. So that it could be the furnace next to the bedroom door.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you said if they have some knowledge of their rights, um, and they can prove that they were violated, they can also sue.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Now, real quick, I have a quick question. Would that be a counter civil claim then that would have to be filed?
That would be civil case.
Okay, so that would be like downtown. You go to Hamilton. Well, I'm in Hamilton County clerk of courts or whatever, and you'd have to file for a civil case, which is what, around $50-$60?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm in Maryland.
Well, I'm just saying around here for a civil case,
Okay.
if I had to file it, it would be like $50 or $60 because I've had to do it. So it's like 50 or 60, and I got to file, and then you got to know all the information possible to fill it out.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also get legal aid to help. But the thing that I don't really too much like about legal aid is when you ask them questions, they're not allowed to answer certain questions, and that's the part that bothers me. It's like your legal aid. You're supposed to legally be able to help me. So why can you not answer certain questions? That doesn't make sense to me.
That's true, though. They're limited. Like, if I call legal aid and say, yes, I want to get a divorce, can you help me? They won't help with that.
Then that shouldn't be called legal aid to me then.
Right. But I can go online and do it and pay it for it myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. You're right about that. Legal aid does not help with everything.
No.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I don't think that, I think it's like misleading in certain terms because you can't help me fill out the paperwork. You can't give me legal advice. Oh, I can't do this. Well, then why do you call yourself legal aid?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need to change your name because legal aid is misleading. Legally, you're here to aid me. But then when I get to you because it's free, you're telling me you can't help me.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense. So that's the reason why I'm asking these questions and saying this kind of stuff is because these are things that people are faced with. You know, what do they do? You know, you said so you said it's a civil lawsuit, so they should go to the civil court and file a civil lawsuit. And sometimes they say you can't get over $10,000, but in some cases, I think they will grant that. You know?
Yeah, that's true too.
Okay, let me finish reading this. It says the facts in the Calbretta case are fairly typical for the kind of situation we are almost daily at Homeschool Legal Defense Association. An anonymous call came into the hotline manned by social workers in Yolo County, California. I never heard of that, and I'm in California. The tipster said that she had heard a child's voice coming from Calbretta's home or property, which cried out, "No, Daddy, no." This same tipster said that an unnamed neighbor had told her that she had heard a child cry out from the backyard, "No, no, no," on another occasion. The tipster added that the family was homeschooling their children and noted that the family was very religious. During the course of discovery in the civil rights case, we found that the social worker listed the homeschooling and religious information not as merely general background facts, but as risk factors in her internal report. So how is that a risk factor? Because the child saying, "No, no, no." How do you not know the daddy was playing like he had the wrong answer and the child was saying, "No, no, no"? You get what I'm saying, Fire Mama?
Right. I mean, it could be no, no, no. I don't want green beans. I mean, it could be anything. I mean, somebody could assume something, but I mean, a lot of times people assume automatically it's a bad case scenario if a person is being homeschooled. They think, oh, why aren't they in a school, or what's going on in the household, or they automatically assume something bad's going on.
Right. What is your take on that?
True.
I was talking to you, Air Force. What is your take on that?
Same.
Huh?
The same as fire.
No, I said, what is your take on that? I said that the child could have been like, you pretend like you getting the answer wrong, and a child could be like, no, daddy, no. Like, that's the wrong answer. And that person thinking that the child is being, abused, and that's not the case.
What's up? I mean, people. Some people.
Can you put your microphone closer so we can hear you?
Okay, wait a minute. Some people are just going to be male and female. Some people are just going to be Karen. Okay, they're going to, or neighborhood watch.
Right.
I mean, people have to learn and understand when they hear things. Make sure you're hearing the correct thing.
Right.
Don't get all up in air. Oh no, daddy. No. Stop. It may be a game that they're playing. It may be a TV show that they're listening for. That they're watching. It may be a radio show that they may be listening to.
Right.
Or, the child could be somewhere in the kitchen or somewhere else in another part of the house, and maybe somebody's got the TV blasted.
Right.
You've got to listen to what's going on before you actually make your call to 311 or 911. Make sure you are hearing what you hear.
Right.
Even if you got to raise your window up a little bit, or just stand out on your porch with your arm closed and tilt your head a little bit, because maybe you hearing this stuff, you done called 911, now hear the kid running out the door, going, either going across the street, down the street, or playing on the swings, or playing in the yard.
Right.
You call 911 for what?
Right.
Listen. You got, my oldest brother, you always say, listen.
Sorry about that. Somebody trying to call me.
I thought he won a prize. Oh, yeah, we're at the 2-hour mark. Good job, Air Force. You got it right, man. You got it right. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
That's funny. Yeah, so my thing, like you said, Air Force, it could be a matter of a kid and their dad playing video games, and he's beating her. She's like, no, daddy, no, nah, you killed my guy, anything, So let me finish this report real quick, this section. And then it says, the social worker came to investigate the matter 4 days after receiving the call. It's always either 5 or 4 days. Acting on the advice of HSLDA gives all its members. Miss Cabrera, I hope I'm saying her name right, refused to let the social worker into the home because she did not have a warrant. The social worker returned to her office and requested that another worker be sent to follow up while she was on vacation. Since this was not done, 10 days later, she returned to the home with the police officer and demanded that Miss Cabrera allow them to enter. The police officer informed Miss Cabrera that they did not need a warrant for any child abuse investigations, and when she still refused to allow entry, he told her that they would enter with or without a consent. Can they do that?
No. That's
so what happens?
That's a violation of her Fourth Amendment rights. That's a violation. It's rights. It's stated right there. It's a violation.
Okay.
They have to have a warrant. They have to have probable cause. They have to have an oath. signed by the judge. I mean, they got to raise their hand on the oath.
Okay.
Okay. The
Okay.
warrant has to be signed by the judge.
Okay, so let me continue. It says, not wanting a physical confrontation with the police officer, Ms. Calbretta opened the door and allowed the social worker and the police officer to enter. A partial strip search. What? A partial strip search was done of one of the young Calbretta children, and an interview was conducted with the family's 12-year-old daughter. The social worker, police officer, and their government agency moved to dismiss claims that there was no violation of any clearly established constitutional right. Both the federal district court and the Ninth Circuit disagreed with these arguments. Contrary to the assumption of hundreds of social workers that we have interacted with at HSLDA, the Ninth Circuit held that the Fourth Amendment applied. The Fourth Amendment applies just as much to a child abuse investigation as it does to any criminal or other governmental investigation. Social workers are not exempt from the requirements of the Fourth Amendment when they act alone. They are not exempt from its rule if they are accompanied by a police officer, and police officers are not exempt from the requirements even if all they do is get in front of the door and open the door for the social worker. What are the requirements of the Fourth Amendment? Okay, the general rule is that unreasonable searches and seizures are banned, but the second part of the rule is the most important in the context. All warrantless searches are presumptively unreasonable. There are two and only two recognized exemptions to the requirement of having a warrant for the conduct of a child abuse investigation. One, the adult in charge of the premises give the social worker his or her free voluntary consent to enter the home. Can somebody elaborate on that for a minute for me? What that means to you?
Give their consent.
It's on the screen. It's on the screen.
I can't see the screen.
I can't see the screen really. It's so little. But what did you say? Something about going in the home? I didn't hear it.
I was saying that they went into the home and they started searching her child. They did a partial strip search of her child, and then they spoke to the daughter.
When is that ever okay to strip search a kid? I've never even heard of that. Ever.
That's a suitcase. That's a suitcase. Who strips her? Who partially searched her? The social worker. The social worker? Oh no. No, that's a suitcase right there. Even if the officer did it, that's a suitcase. They should have took that to court and sued the department, and actually sued both departments, sued CPS as a whole, sued the police department as a whole, then went to the officer, individually, and then went to the CPS agent individually. That's what I would have done. I would have rammed
right
up their butt. And
right.
That's a whole lot.
Right.
That's a whole lot of logs. That's a whole lot of paperwork. Yes, ma'am. I would have rammed it right up their butt. That's a suitcase.
Right. Right. And then it's another part. I'm gonna skip down to another part. Excuse me. And then it says, hold on. They were saying something about the adult in charge of the premises give the social worker his or her free and voluntary consent to enter the home. That's what happened. They gave them the consent because they used, threat tactics and said, they were going to do certain things. So the social worker possesses evidence that meets two standards. A is satisfied the legal standard of establishing probable cause, and the evidence demonstrate that there are exigent circumstances related to the health of the children. And then it's talking about consent. So as I paraphrase it, it was saying that if a police officer says, if you don't let us in your home, we will break down your door, a parent will then open the door, has not given free and voluntary consent. If a social worker says, if you don't let me in the house, I will take your children away, a parent who then opens the door has not given free and voluntary consent. Threats to go get a pickup order negate consent. Any type of communication which conveys the idea to the parent that they have no realistic alternative but to allow entry negates any claim that the entry was lawfully gained through the channel of consent. It should be remembered that consent is only one of the three valid ways to gain entry: warrant, consent, or probable cause, and exigent circumstances. There is nothing improper about saying, we have a warrant, you must let us in, or we have solid evidence that your child is in extreme danger, you must let us in. Such statements indicate that the social worker is relying on some theory other than consent to gain lawful entry. Of course, the social worker must indeed have a warrant if such a claim is made, and in similar fashion, if a claim is made that the entry is being made upon probable cause of exigent circumstances, then that must also be independently true. Okay, so if they tell you that they're going to knock your door down, and they use all these scare tactics to try to make people, let them in the house, and it's not right. And that's where a lot of people get caught up in the system because they don't know. And so it goes on to say the Fourth Amendment does not put a barrier in the way of a social worker who has reliable evidence that a child is in imminent danger. For example, if a hotline call comes in and says, my name is Mildred Smith, here's my address and phone number, I was visiting my grandchildren this morning and I discovered that one of my grandchildren, Johnny, age 5, is being locked in his room without food for days at a time, and he looked pale and weak to me. The social worker certainly has evidence of exigent circumstances and is only one step away from having probable cause. Since the report has been received over the telephone, it is possible that the tipster is an imposter and not the child's grandmother, which can be true. A quick verification of the relationship can be made in a variety of ways, and once verified, the informant would satisfy the legal test of reliability. The writing is so small, which is necessary to establish probable cause. However, a case handled by HSLDA in San Bernardino County, California, illustrates that even a grandparent cannot be considered a per se reliable informant. So what do you think about that?
Okay. I agree and disagree.
Huh?
I said I agree and disagree.
You don't think that they...
If I went over to my daughter's house and I saw my grandchildren, in the closet, something like that, and if I was scared of my granddaughter, yeah, I get on the phone, I'll call, and tell them who I am, what I am to those grandkids, and who I am to that young lady in the house that has my grandchildren. Now, if you don't want to do anything, I'll tell you what, I'll call 911. I'll have a police officer come over, and I will explain to him in front of my daughter what's going on. So and from that point, the next day if I have to take the social services, all well and fine. you know. But then again, I see what this organization is saying. Prove, prove it that you're the grandparent.
Right.
There's certain ways that you have to prove it, and if you can prove that, then we'll take it a step further. But
Right.
if you cannot prove it, then what you want me to do?
Right.
You know. But the thing about it is that see, it's a catch-22 there, because if she's telling the truth, and nobody does anything, and then those kids come up dead for some reason, and then the newspaper going to say, well, they were living in the closet, they were malnourished, the clothes or diapers were soiled and all this kind of stuff. Then what you gonna do?
Right.
So it's
Right.
a catch-22 right there.
Right. So, Fire Mama, how do you feel about them saying that you have to prove that you are the grandparent, and you have to, because a call was made?
I think I don't see her.
Oh, you think she's gone?
Yeah, she's still in the room though, in the chat room.
Oh no, she's gone. She's
Oh,
gone.
okay.
She dropped off. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I had to get back to my fort.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, it's nice meeting you, Fire Mama. 411.
Okay. Okay. So it says a grandmother in a hotline complaint with two totally separate allegations of sexual abuse. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that word, abuse. The first claim was that his son, who was a boarder in an unrelated family's home, was abusing the children in that home. The second claim concerned his daughter and her husband. Ooh, this is getting good. The claim was that the husband was abusing their children. Wow. These were two separate allegations in two separate homes. The social worker went to the home of the unrelated family first to investigate the claims about the tipster's son. They found that the claim to be utterly spurious. I don't know what that word means. They had gained entry into the home based on the consent of the children's parents. The following day, they went to the home of the tipster's daughter. The daughter had talked to her brother in the meantime and knew that her father had made a false report about him. When the social worker arrived at her home, she informed them that they were in pursuit of a report made by an unknown false reporter, her father. Moreover, she informed the social worker that she had previously obtained a court order requiring her father to stay away from her family and children based on his prior acts of harassment. Despite the fact that the social worker knew that their reporter had been previously found to be unreliable, they insisted that they would be entering the family's home without consent. In a civil rights suit we brought against the social worker and police officer, they settled the matter with a substantial payment to the family in satisfaction of their claim that the entry was in violation of their civil rights because the evidence in their possession did not satisfy the standard of probable cause. It is not enough to have information that the children are in some form of serious danger. The evidence must also pass a test of reliability that our justice system calls probable cause. In the first appellate case I ever handled in the area, HR versus State Department of Human Resources 612 SO 2D 477, I guess that's Alabama or something like that, appellate in 1992. The court held that an anonymous tip standing alone never amounted to probable cause. The Calbretta court held the same thing, as have numerous other decisions which have face the issue directly. So you got people that are making false calls, false allegations, and all types of stuff. So this is pretty lengthy right here, and they're talking about other cases that took place, and I don't want to so it goes down and it says, I'm gonna jump down because it says it's not enough information. Well, it's not enough to have information that the children are in some form of serious danger. The evidence must. Okay, I already read that. Sorry about that. On the surface, this places the social worker in a dilemma. On the one hand, state statutes, local regulations, and the precipitation of federal mandates seem to require a social worker to conduct an investigation on the basis of an anonymous tip. But on the other hand, the courts are holding in case after case that if you do enter a home based on nothing more than an anonymous tip, you are violating the Fourth Amendment right of those being investigated. What do you do? The answer is pay attention to the details of each set of the rules. First and foremost, keep in mind that the ultimate federal mandate is the Constitution of the United States. No federal law can condition your receipt of federal funds on the basis that you violated some other provisions of the Constitution. South Dakota, they're talking about South Dakota. Second, realize that the mandate to conduct an investigation does not require you to enter every home, even if your rules or statutes even seem to expressly require entry into every home. Such rules and statutes must be construed in a manner consistent with Constitution. This writing, I'm telling you, see how small it is. The net requirement is this: if your law and regulations seem to require entry into every home, then social workers should be instructed to add this caveat when it is constitutional for me to do so. Obviously, nothing in the Constitution prevents a social worker from going to a home and simply asking to come in. If the parent or guardian says yes, there is no constitutional violation whatsoever, provided that there was no coercion. So if you let them come in on your own free will, they didn't threaten you, and you say, come on in, because you know that there's nothing going on, then you can't later come around and say, oh, they violated me. That's not going to work for you because you let them in on your own. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about that?
I mean, it's nothing to really say, but it's right to the point. You know, you always have to know. You always have to know your Fourth Amendment rights. You know, you always have to know your Fifth Amendment rights. You know, if you ever watched Law and Order of any court show, prison show, or whatever the case may be, you know your rights. Know your rights. Know your rights. Know your rights. Know what they can and cannot do. Then if you don't feel like talking, I'll plead the fifth, because anything I might say might incriminate me. So I'm not talking, I'm not telling you nothing. You know, I don't care if you break my fingers, take my arms out, jack my arms up and throw them one way or the other and all that. It don't matter, I'm not saying nothing. You know? And a lot of people, and I tell you, the organization, the mafia used to use that all the time. I'm not saying nothing. I'm not snitching on nobody. I'm not saying nothing. I'm going to go and do my time. You know, but you always. I mean, you need some more people on this channel that need to know this.
Right.
The Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights are the key to everything that you do in life. If you know those four, and if you pulled up on any wrongdoing, you got your Fourth, Fifth, and Sixth Amendment. And then in some states, you're going to have your Second Amendment going on with you, you know?
Right.
As far as, you know, the guns, you know, carrying guns openly and all that kind of stuff. So you have to have at least a little bit of knowledge of the law So you won't get yourself caught up into anything that's going to hurt you or harm you or put you in prison, for some time.
Okay.
You don't need all of that. You don't need all of
Right.
that. And so
Right.
with that said, Miss, I'm going to cut down because my prayer time started at 11:40.
Okay, I'm just going to read this little bit. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah.
Thank you for everybody that's joining me tonight. Thank you, Fire Mama. Thank you, Tracy. I'm going to go ahead and read the end of this, and I'm going to go ahead and end the live. And when you finish your prayer time, kind of like skim through and listen. You'll hear the buzzing that we was talking about.
Okay, I will.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read the it said, because I'm skipping down because it's so long, and I appreciate everybody that came in. It said, it is my opinion that the welfare of children is absolutely consistent with our constitutional requirements. Children are not well served if they are subjected to investigations based on false allegations. Little children can be traumatized by investigations in ways that are unintended by the social worker. However, to a small child, all they know is that a strange adult is taking off their clothing while their mother is sobbing in the next room in the presence of an unarmed police officer. And in the presence of an armed police officer. I apologize again. Like I said, the words are very, very small. This does not seem to a child to be a proper invasion of their person. Quite different, for example, from an examination by a doctor when their mother is present and cooperating. So you have the mother that's there. She's not crying. She's not under stress. She's not full of anxiety or anything like that. So children know. They know. A lot of times when you are sad or upset, a child would normally come and try to comfort you. They know. They absolutely know when something is not right. So you can't pull the wool over a child's eye. The misuse of anonymous tips are well known. Personal vendettas, like I said, neighborhood squabbles, dispute on the little league field are turned into maliciously false allegation breathed into a hotline. From my perspective, there is no reason whatsoever in any case for a report to be anonymous. That's what I was saying. There is every reason to keep the reports confidential. The difference between an anonymous report and a confidential report is obvious. In an anonymous report, the social worker or police officer does not know who the reporter is and has no evidence of the reliability of the report. There is no policy reason for keeping social workers or police officers in the dark. So they really, like I said, should do away with the anonymous calling. They really should, because it will cut down. Like I said, 80% of the calls are false allegations and only 20% are real serious calls. So that lets you know that something is totally wrong with the system where you can call in anonymously. On the other hand, there is every reason to keep the name of the reporter confidential. Like I was saying early, there are a great number of reasons that the person being investigated shouldn't know who made the call. I mean, sometimes it's good to, I wouldn't necessarily, like I said earlier, because you have people that if you report on them and they find out who you are, they may come back and try to do some type of harm to you. And that would be all bad. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's not a good thing. I wouldn't I wouldn't release that information. Moreover, precious resources are diverted from children who are truly in need of protection when social workers are chasing false allegation breathed into a telephone by a malicious anonymous tipster. If such a tipster is told, may we please have your name, address, and phone number, we will keep this totally confidential. It is highly probable that the vast majority of reports made in good faith will give such information. it is also probable that those making malicious false allegations will simply hang up. That's what I was saying earlier. Children are well served when good faith allegations are investigated. They are equally well served if malicious allegations can be screened out without the need for invasion. And that concludes my part 2, and part 3 will be coming soon. So I thank everybody that looked at this, paid attention to it, joined. Sorry that everybody couldn't be a part of it because, like I said, I don't have enough subscribers that will give out notifications when I do StreamYard. So, Tracy, thank you so very much. If you have any questions, you can email me. You can go to the About Me tab on my channel and email me, and anything that you need me to research and pull up for you, I could definitely do that. And that goes for anybody else. So, don't forget to hit that like button, that post notification bell, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Be safe, be blessed, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.